Hello everyone and welcome to the podcast number 7 of OpenTalks. In this episode we are going to talk about three things, but first let's bring up one information. Like from next podcast, we are going to the other channel, that is Tux Forums. We'll be linking the channel in the description, so that is not an issue. Now, Tux Forums is like a technical forum first of all, but if you go inside, if you go deep, like it's not just a technical forum. Way more than that. Like the UI is very intuitive. It's very beautiful. If you see and compare it with the XDF forums and those other forums, you'll see like what we are trying to see. Second thing is like it's not too much moderated like XDF forums and those things. It's like when the moderation is needed, it is done. But otherwise, you know, if you're not professional enough or something like that, your thread won't be taken down. We will be helping you to make it professional and those things. And third thing is like like it started as a passion. So if something starts as a passion, like it has to be good. So yeah, let's just go and check out Tux Forums. Any other? Do you have anything to add about Tux Forums?
Uh, no, I think it is like where you can just be yourself and you can just talk about
Perfect.
whatever problems you have, and we
Yeah.
don't really think what like if your question is dumb or anything, right? I mean,
Correct. Correct.
it is like a common question. We will like assist you,
Yes.
and people in tax forums supports free speech in the sense like if you kind of talk in a way like you don't know anything, but you accidentally didn't give us logs or something like that, we won't really like say like get out or something like that.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
This is
That is
something
true.
that happens with most of the forums, and because of this,
Yes.
like we started this
Correct. Correct.
using
Correct.
this, like everyone
Yeah.
is kind of bashing every other. It is all toxic. We want
Yes.
forums to be a group, right? To
Yeah.
have a community helping each other without telling each other to go. Right?
Right. And like this is a channel, I guess, on which we'll be moving next time. So I mean, yeah. And the timing will be like 9 p.m. right? Instead of
Yes.
10. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So, right.
That is like good.
Yes, here, right? We are branding this whole video to Tux, right? So, it is because that, like we are basically affiliated with Tux, and with Tux it is much more better. The quality will be
Yes.
better, and everything will be better. So, we are
Mm.
moving this podcast from now on to Tux.
Correct. Correct.
This
Correct.
is like the URL. The URL is youtube.com/Tux Forums, and you can go ahead and play that. And otherwise, the playlist will be updated regularly with the same,
Yeah.
the URL from the other channel. There is
Right.
absolutely no issues. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
go ahead with the
Right.
first
Let's
topic.
let's start. Right. So we are going to talk about Windows 11, and like it's not supporting every hardware like as we expected. Second thing is like SSDs, like Adata SSDs are being, you know, they are doing shady things. They are kind of replacing the highly performing controller with somewhat lower performing controller. Third thing is like manufacturers are slowing down computers. How that is they are doing? Let's see. Right? First topic is like Windows 11 is not supporting every hardware. Abram, can you bring up the requirements of Windows 11? Like yeah.
Um, okay, so is it in this page?
Yes, yes, yes. It's below. It's even below. Even below. There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay. So here you go.
So I'm just switching to the first view. Yeah. So first of all, you need to have this thing TPM version 2 or above. That is like this is trusted platform module, which like modern devices have, which is to kind of enhance the security of the device, right? Like if there is any tampering or those things, this chip will kind of prevent it. That's what this chip is for. Second thing is like only Intel 8 Gen and above will be supported. So I am like saved by just one generation. My laptop is having 8 generation. So like everything below 8 generation is like almost gone. And for AMD also there is some kind of you know uh, thing which is almost
First generation is not supported. So second generation is supported.
second gen is supported. I mean we understand that considering the security aspect, it is necessary. I mean it's not necessary. It is good, but it is not necessary. That's what like I thought. Right? I mean
First.
yeah, and there is literally there is a. Abram, can you scroll down a little bit?
Okay. Yeah, let me do it.
Yeah, see, yeah, it's just there. Top for a Windows 11 compatible PC at this retail.
Oh,
There you
I'm
go.
pretty sure
And
they are bringing surfaces, right? I mean,
absolutely. And the thing is that like the support for Windows 10 is ending on 2025. So after that, if your PC is like having third gen or fourth gen Intel, and it won't be updated regularly with security patches, and your PC will be more vulnerable to whatnot. So I mean, yeah, there you go. People will kind of find alternative OSs or maybe find their new devices. I guess.
so yeah, the thing
Yep.
is TPM, right? I mean, TPM is basically for enhancing cryptography, right? That is the first case it was like introduced, right? I mean, for enhancing the speed of cryptography, you wanted
Okay.
everything to be faster and secure, right? So that is why TPM was introduced.
Right.
TPM is like a chip. Basically, it does the cryptography for you. Like the RSA keys are all kept in that. Like everything is kept. For example, like if your OS boots, right, your kernel
Mm-hmm.
needs to be validated. Is your kernel
Okay.
having some malware in it? So
Hmm.
something like what it does is it takes a checksum of the
Yeah.
kernel and checks it if it is correct. And to check it, it already has the private key, right, associated with the public key which it encrypted. The basic
Okay.
signature, right? So that is how it secures stuff, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is meant to be. But we have seen many attacks on TPM in old days.
Yeah.
And some of the TPM, one point is already pretty much dead, right? 2.0 is kind of now dangling, you can say.
Mm-hmm.
Some say some of the attacks are much more easier, right,
Okay.
with TPM, and
Yeah.
like it makes it much more easier, right, than software. Some of
Yeah.
the things are becoming like nearly impossible. But the thing is,
Right.
as you know, we thought the Intel CPU is secure for a very long time, right?
Absolutely right.
And it was blown away with those Spectre, Meltdown, those chain of attacks, right?
Yeah.
So like the thing is, TPM is a hardware, and the one time it fails, there is no
Mm-hmm.
going back. In the sense, like you can only upgrade the chip rather than there is no firmware to upgrade in this TPM, right?
I see. I see.
So I mean, it is a good direction, but is it the perfect direction? I don't know, right? This is the direction phones are working into. Like phones have their SMC, right, system management
Yeah.
controller, and they have the baseband chip which actually does all the encryption and handles this stuff. Basically the same thing as TPM, right? Like the
Right.
bootloader verifies. That is how
Mm-hmm.
the unlocked bootloader boots, right? Like if you don't unlock it, this
Mm-hmm.
baseband chip will prevent your customer
Okay.
from booting, because it sees, okay, the checksum is different, now it won't boot,
I
right?
see. I see.
So
Right.
that is why you can't, some of the unlocked devices won't even boot, right? That is the baseband chip
Mm-hmm.
is still not disabled. Like, it is not.
Okay. Right. That I've seen. Yeah. This thing. Right.
So, I mean, that, like, it feels like Windows is going the mobile direction, right? I mean,
Yeah.
as we did, and the industry is going that way, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly. And apparently, more than 50% of the device, like almost 50% of the devices, will be discarded if you are moving to Windows 11. So
Right.
like,
See, like my processor is a 6700K, right? I mean, my PC. This
yes.
is absolutely in spec now. Like, I mean, when you compare against the newer i5s, this
Yeah.
performs in part to that, right? And like, this is not at all out of spec. And
Yeah.
if you're saying with Windows 7, this is out of spec. Like, I mean, you in the sense like Microsoft, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is out of spec, then I mean, lot of pieces are going to be in the landfill. I mean,
Correct.
otherwise, like, there is always another option to install Linux, right? I mean, or to patch Windows. So I guess let's go into the patching windows, right? What do you think?
Correct. 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 That's correct.
So this question has been already mentioned
One minute.
in.
One minute. Like, let's switch this
Okay,
series.
perfect.
Yeah. There you go.
So this question has been already mentioned in touch forums, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. It has been already mentioned, and I actually have responded to that, and I told like AMD won't even support, right? I mean that was
Yes.
my assumption, right? Like
Yeah.
because AMD first generation doesn't have the TPM in the CPU, right? It is
Right.
actually external to CPU, right? So
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
um, right. So yeah, like what he at last found is that there is a way to run it still, right?
Okay.
But the actual
Okay.
installation file of the Windows 11 can be modified and still installed. So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
this means that maybe in future, right,
Mm.
Microsoft will make it available for
Right.
normal consumers, right? I mean,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
but I'm
In
not
in
sure.
sense, like, even like if they don't make it available for normal consumers, it will be patchable and like installable by the custom
Yeah, yeah,
Windows
right.
11
I
tools.
mean, can you trust it anymore, right? Those ISOs. You might
That's the issue. Yeah.
trust some third party, right? I mean, this person who passed it, someone has to verify it,
Yeah.
and if it is okay, then everyone should say like, okay, this person
Exactly.
is good, right? But still, like people will have their like doubts, right? I mean,
Yes. First
like
thing is like we cannot even trust original ISO from Microsoft. Right? This the patched one like from other third party is absolutely not trustable. You are correct.
yes, and that is one thing which scares me, right? If Microsoft
Mm.
doesn't do it, I think people will lose trust on the operating system,
Yes.
right? And
Yes. Yes.
one more
Yes.
thing is like, Windows users, they don't really care about where the software is downloaded, right? I mean, in theory.
Absolutely not. Like just get the exe file, double click, install. That's it.
So I am like, I am thinking like maybe they won't even notice it, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
will just download.
Apparently, like Windows is promoting malwares by doing this. Like there will be
Exactly.
people will be installing third party builds.
I mean, when you think about people moving to Linux, it is
Yeah.
much more probable that people will hack in Windows than move to Linux, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, for me, I think the thing is, like they should actually want rather than they install
Mm.
and they say like, okay, you don't have this TPM, so
Right.
Windows won't be as secure as if you have the newer devices.
Yeah.
But we still support your device, right? So
Right.
that it doesn't get out of date, right? So
Perfect.
something like that.
Yeah. Like that should be something should be implemented from Windows side. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. Right.
So let's go to the next topic.
Next one. Yeah. So apparently, Adata is kind of fiddling with the SSD controller. So like the thing is that when you are fiddling with the SSD controllers, you generally don't notice. Like the normal consumer won't notice what is happening with my like SSD. Thing is that there will be everything will be same. Like model number will be same. The specs will be same. Everything, but even price will be same. But the controller will be changed. Now the thing is that how does it impact the performance? What is controller? Controller basically is a kind of a medium between your flash of SSD and your incoming source, right? The controller kind of decides where to store, with how much speed I should store, what is the temperature of my SSD, how should I cap down the bandwidth, how should I cap up the bandwidth. Those things are kind of controlled by the controller, and this is like the brains of the SSD. And if companies are kind of degrading it, apparently your SSD is being degraded. So, Abraham, like more details on this thing?
So the thing is, okay, so this is like one article, right, regarding this topic.
Yes.
Um, so this actually we have tracked it way earlier, right? If you remember,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
we
right.
started tracking it from USB drives. If you remember, like USB
Okay,
drives
okay.
swapping components inside, right?
Yeah,
If you buy
yeah.
one USB drive and if you buy the same model again, you might
Mm,
not
mm,
get the
mm,
same
mm.
performance. with the
Correct.
USB drives. Um,
Correct. 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 Correct.
and this has been a major problem, right? I mean, when you kind of buy a product, you
Yeah.
believe the specification of the manufacturer to be correct, and you believe
Exactly.
that it will perform according to what they say, right? And
Exactly.
for that, actually, the components needs to be same, right?
Mm.
And what happens is that nowadays the manufacturers are slacking off in specs, like saying it is up
Yeah.
to 3000, it's up to 2000, right? I mean,
Yes.
they
Yes.
are
Yes.
never saying it is from like 2500
Yeah.
to 3000 it will perform
They
perfect.
never say range in long term performance and average write speeds, average read speeds. They will never say these things. Correct.
And think about it, like if you say up to 3000, it is equal to saying okay, the performance is between 0 to 3000, right? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
so even if the SSD is dead, it is in spec.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
Those are the
isn't
wordings,
it, right?
technical wordings, right?
So yeah, like the controller is basically like a chip, right? I mean,
Mm.
what happens is the NAND flashes, right? They have a write cycle, so
Yeah.
you can't keep on writing to the same part again and again and again, right? I
Mm.
mean,
Otherwise,
as
it will
you
die.
only write, it gets weird, right?
Yes.
So controller is the one who keeps track of which NAND chips are getting written
Mm.
more, right? The blocks
Correct.
actually, right? Blocks in the NAND are getting written more, and it will kind of remap the block with something else, some
Right.
other
Right.
block.
Right.
So it looks like a hard disk for the computer, and the
Mm.
computer does access it like a hard disk, but internally it's getting all mapped here and there, right, by the controller
Yeah.
to where level.
Right.
That is a key term, right? To where level. And
Right. Right.
also it has to cache it, right? I mean, the NAND flashes first was SLC, right? Single level cache, the
Right.
single level cell, right? Single level cell.
Mm.
And those things were really fast in the sense
Yeah.
like it could do gigabytes per second with a single
Okay.
uh, you know
Oh. Yeah.
flash memory, right?
Right.
And then they started moving to multiple levels, that is two level cells, which actually got branded as multi-level cells, because people thought there won't be more, right?
Yeah.
Obviously they were wrong, like there will be more, right? So then
Yeah.
there came TLC, this is tri-level cell.
Okay.
So what actually in theory happened is that the more cells, like more levels it had, the cell
Mm-hmm.
got written too much, right? That
Okay.
is,
Okay.
when you have to write a 1 byte, right?
Yeah.
Say address 0000, right? You want to write
Yeah.
something, but the address 0000, 001, 002, and the three of them are in the single cell. Think of it like that.
Okay. Okay.
Even if you want to write any of those, you have to write the whole cell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happens is overall the wear gets more, because think about you
I
are
see.
writing 001, 002 like multiple times, right? So
Yeah.
you by writing 002 you are also affecting 001 kind of,
Right.
right? So this is why TLC is bad, right? Now people are
Yeah.
going with QLC, right? And five level cells are coming, right? I mean, it's already
Yes.
up, like development is done, it's already released. It is just for the manufacturers to implement. And the thing is that in the old days people started moving from, like, for example, SanDisk, right? SanDisk SSDs were actually using MLC, right?
Okay.
Then
Okay.
they sneaked in SLCs into it.
Yeah.
No, not
Yeah.
SLCs, the TLCs into it. And
Mm-hmm.
for at least, like, for SanDisk, let's say SanDisk never said they will keep the specs straight.
Mm. Yeah.
They were always saying, okay, we will change the specs. We might, right? I mean,
Right.
as the time goes, we might change the specs.
Yeah.
So it was okay for them because they were straight to us. They were saying, we won't say the controller, it might change. We won't say the flash, it will be different. But we will say that the spec sheet, the performance should be same, right?
Yes.
They
Yes.
also never told any TBW values also, if you remember,
Yeah.
right? Like Western Digital, they also don't say the TBW values in their data sheet.
Right.
And these are some sneaky tricks, right? So here,
Right.
it is not just the flash which is getting replaced. Earlier it was
Okay.
just the flash, right? Now the
Yeah.
controller is getting replaced. When the controller is
I
getting
see.
replaced, controller is like the microprocessor which actually processes all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it has to map things. Like PC says, okay, we want this. Then the controller
Mm-hmm.
has to basically, like, find it, boom, give it, right?
Yeah.
what if the controller's clock speed is slow? It
True.
will find it very less fast, right? I mean, the latency will increase, and
Yeah.
at this point of time, there might be also some other things like, what if multiple requests comes? How much request can
Right.
the controller satisfy per second, right? There is IOPS.
Hmm.
These all things will be affected on the controller, right? And also the flash,
Absolutely.
mainly on the controller, right? So
Yeah.
if Adata and these kind of manufacturers willy nilly just start changing these components, we are living in a place where we can't just trust the storages. Actually, in
Exactly.
the last episode, we told about SMR and CMR, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we told about how CMR drives slowly became SMR drives,
Right.
and that is absolutely crazy, right? I mean, things just
Yeah.
changes, like, you one day you just find the specs to be different of your
Hmm.
favorite
Hmm. Hmm.
storage device.
Correct.
So yeah, I think we can move to the next.
Yeah. Right. So okay. So the third topic is like manufacturers are kind of slowing down computers, including laptops and maybe desktop. If I'm not wrong. So like, what is happening? Like, what are they trying to do?
Oh,
What are the components they are like having issue with paying off? Right? Yeah. Like, can you throw some light on this thing? This not this thing.
right. So the thing is, I mean, like, this is also positive as well as negative, right? I mean, this news.
Mm-hmm.
uh, the manufacturers are actually swapping RAM chips, right? I mean, this we got from LTT, right? Linus Tech Tips. Uh,
Yes. 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 Yes.
so the thing is, actually, you can say there is like, 1 hour X8 and 1 hour X16. So what this means that there is like eight.
Alright, one like maybe 60 screen
Okay,
share.
perfect.
There you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so there is like 1 hour X8 and 1 hour X16, and here
Mm-hmm.
X8 means that there is like 8 chips, and X16
Okay.
means that there is 16 chips, right?
Right.
And the thing is, yeah, like it's not like that. I mean, this is 8 bit and this is 16 bit. Yeah. So,
Okay.
so what happens is that 1 hour X8 means that if it is a 64-bit RAM,
Mm-hmm.
it will be made up of 8-bit chips. So it
Yeah.
needs like how much chips? 8 chips, I guess, right? 8 or 4. Let's do math, right? 4 into 8 is 32. Okay, so that is 8 chips. So there
Yeah.
is need for 8 chips to make 64-bit, right?
Right. And
And
16
one
is 4.
16 is like,
4.
for one more thing is that laptop RAMs are not 64-bit, as far as I know. Like that is 32-bit, right? So if you
Okay.
don't run it in dual channel, it's like, you use
Mm-hmm.
two cycles to fetch 64, right?
Okay.
You might not see actually, 8 chips on laptop RAMs. There might be only
Right.
4 chips,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So 1R X16 is like, you have 16-bit chips, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you only need 8 chips, not 8 chips, 4 chips to satisfy it, right? Half the chips. So the thing is that actually, right, more chips is much more better because you know that there is MMU, right, memory management unit, which
Yeah.
actually maps all the memories and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
also is aware of like these chips, and it can do
Okay.
a parallel search on these chips.
I see.
Like if
I
you
see.
want some memory to be released, like, taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it has to search for that particular page, right? The memory
Yeah.
is pages, right? It is divided into pages or frames, you can say, right? I mean, frame is equal to
Right.
page, right? So the frame has to be found. That is, each the programs, like in Windows, normally Windows,
Mm-hmm.
everything actually might have a, similar address space. So you can say
Okay.
one program might have like, some 000 to 0016, it's address space.
Yeah.
That is like 16 bytes, but let's say 16 bytes. Another program might also have the same address space, 00 to 0032, right?
Okay.
uh, so we have like 16 bytes of address space and 32 bytes of address space, both collide. So the thing is, like, the Windows kind of knows that these are not collisions. Internally, it has to map it to somewhere else, to the RAM,
Yeah.
right? So that is how things works, right? And this is how also Linux maps it. But in case of Linux, actually, it is much more complex because Linux doesn't care about how much size it is, right? If it is greater, if it is greater than RAM, it is fine. If it is greater than virtual memory, it is bad, right? Like any program
Yeah.
can have more than RAM size of allocated,
Right.
and it only
Right.
allocates stuff when it is written to, right? So apart from that, Windows and Linux memory management is exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is that MMU can find out the data parallelly very fast if there is more chips compared to if there are small chips. So it is much more faster. Like the latency is much more less. But in
Yeah.
case of gaming, I guess what happens is that the latency is much more important, right?
Okay.
Like latency is
Mm.
much more important. So people
Yeah.
who are gaming actually, for them, the performance decreases substantial because FPS drops are high, right?
Right.
And mainly in AMD, because AMD has a lot of, the Infinity Fabric communicating between the memory, right? I mean,
Yeah.
to for the chiplets to communicate with each other, and that makes the memory problem to another level, right? So the thing is, this memory is very cheap to produce. So this is exactly why they have basically done that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
done this kind of thing. But the Linus, what he is asking in the video is that manufacturers just show that information in their spec page, right? I mean,
Yeah.
for laptop RAMs, there is not even a way. Like if you even go ahead to Amazon and buy a RAM, there is no
Mm-hmm.
way to know which RAM
Yeah.
you're using unless and
Correct.
until you just buy it and see the specs. Some
Correct.
memory companies might actually produce it, but
Yeah.
like, we are telling about the majority, right? And also for laptops which are pre-built, laptops are obviously pre-built. Uh,
Yeah.
you will have to take apart the RAM, right? Like you
I
have to
see.
use the laptop and see the RAM, the label on it, to see
Yeah.
if it is 1R X8 or 1R X16, right? 1R
Okay.
X8 is much more better for the latency.
Right. Right. Really.
But if you are just thinking about memory sizes, I mean that is fine, right? Both works,
Yeah.
right? Just for the capacity. So for compiling and stuff like that, I don't think that it won't make a much of a difference because they are the bandwidth
Mm-hmm.
matters than the latency, right? So
Correct.
yeah, like I think that covers that topic, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So, Abhiram, like, let's wind up this episode. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, guys, we are moving to the next, to the other channel from next podcast. That is Tux Forums. Like you can see the URLs in this screen. Otherwise, we'll be also linking this in description.
Absolutely.
And the timing is also changing from 10 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Sunday. Right? Perfect. So yeah, if you liked it, you know what to do. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe. And yeah,
If you have any doubts, right, do leave it in the comments. I have
correct,
never
correct,
seen
correct.
anyone leave it in the comments, but yeah, like do it, right?
Absolutely. And also, like, if you have any major doubts which other people can address, you can go to Tux Forums and maybe post there. Right? Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye.